For decades, the world watched the slow, agonizing ascent of a woman once branded as the most hated figure in the United Kingdom. She was the other woman, the shadow in the fairy tale, the person blamed for the destruction of the century's most iconic marriage. But on May 6, 2023, under the ancient arches of Westminster Abbey, the shadow finally stepped into the light. Camilla Parker Bowles was crowned Queen Consort, a triumph of endurance over public vitriol. Yet the cruelest irony of the British crown is that a title does not guarantee a legacy. Even as the crown touched her head, a new power was rising, a woman who possessed the very magic Camilla had spent a lifetime trying to replicate. Today, at 76 years old, King Charles III sits on a throne he waited 7 decades to occupy. Yet reports from the inner sanctum suggest his mind is not on the future of his reign, but on a devastating realization about his past. Behind his steady monarchical mask lies a silent confession that is shaking the palace to its foundation. The king is reportedly grappling with a profound sense of regret, watching his wife Queen Camilla navigate a growing toxic jealousy toward the woman who has become the true heart of the nation, Catherine, the Princess of Wales. In an industry where image is the only currency that matters, the dynamics between the king, his queen, and his daughter-in-law are shifting in ways that Hollywood could never script. This is not just a story of royal protocol. It is a cinematic dissection of a man realizing, perhaps too late, that the qualities he once dismissed in his first wife are the only things keeping his empire alive today. To understand the absolute gravity of this internal fracture, one must return to the root wound of July 29, 1981. The world watched in a state of collective hypnosis as a 32-year-old Prince Charles stood at the altar of St. Paul's Cathedral to wed Lady Diana Spencer. 750 million people tuned in to see the 25-foot silk train, the glass coach, and the kiss on the balcony. It was a moment manufactured to save the monarchy, but it was built on a lie. Charles was a man suffocating under the rigid expectations of his bloodline, torn between a youthful, warm bride he barely knew and the woman he could never relinquish, Camilla. The tension of that day created a psychological rift that would bleed through the next 40 years of British history. Diana's ability to connect with the common man was not just a talent, it was a revolution. She dismantled the icy distant facade of the Windsors, replacing it with a vulnerability that the establishment, including Charles, found terrifying and unstable. When that union violently shattered, the world chose its side. Camilla became the ultimate villain, the woman who had allegedly poisoned the well of a fairy tale. For years, she was a prisoner of public hatred. She was subjected to unimaginable vitriol. Women threw bread rolls at her in supermarkets, and the tabloids dissected her every move with a clinical, predatory cruelty. To the traditionalists inside Buckingham Palace, she was a walking liability, a toxic reminder of the scandal that nearly brought down the House of Windsor. But Charles possessed an unyielding, almost obsessive devotion to her. He had lost her once to the requirements of the crown, and he spent the rest of his life ensuring she would never be an outsider again. He defended her through the dark years of the 90s, through the fallout of Diana's tragic passing in 1997, and through the slow, methodical public relations campaign known as Operation Ritz, designed to make her palatable to a grieving nation. The golden illusion of their victory finally arrived in September 2022, following the death of Queen Elizabeth II. Charles was finally king, and Camilla was his queen. It was the ultimate vindication. They had outlasted the critics, the protesters, and the ghost of the past. But the paradox of their triumph is that the moment they reached the summit, they found themselves standing in the shadow of a new, unstoppable force. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, had spent a decade quietly mastering the royal craft. She didn't just learn the protocol, she learned the people. Since becoming the Princess of Wales, her popularity has soared to unprecedented heights, with approval ratings consistently hovering between 70% and 80%. She possesses the poise of a future queen and the relatable down-to-earth charm of a modern mother. She is the new Diana, but with a discipline that the original never possessed. This is the catalyst for the current shattering inside the palace. Reports have surfaced that Queen Camilla has grown increasingly frustrated by the way Kate seamlessly commands the spotlight. Every time the two women appear together, the camera lenses inevitably drift toward the Princess of Wales. Her fashion choices move global markets. Her initiatives on early childhood development and mental health have turned her into a substantive world leader rather than just a figurehead. For Camilla, who had to fight bleed and endure decades of humiliation just to be accepted, watching Kate receive instant and universal adoration is a bitter pill to swallow. Insiders suggest that Camilla may be taking subtle steps behind the scenes to reinforce her own relevance, maneuvering solo engagements and press opportunities to remind the public that she is the queen consort. But you cannot manufacture the it factor, and in Hollywood and royalty alike, the public chooses who they love. King Charles is the silent witness to this intensifying friction. He is a man caught between his steadfast devotion to the woman he loves and the undeniable reality that his daughter-in-law is the monarchy's most valuable asset. The silent confession coming from the king's inner circle is one of existential grief. As he watches Kate engage with children at hospitals or lead national campaigns with the same warmth that once defined Diana, he is reportedly haunted by the past. He was once criticized for failing to appreciate the power and charm of his first wife, dismissing Diana's magnetism as a threat to his own authority. Now, 30 years later, he sees that same magic reflected in Kate. He realizes that the very qualities he once tried to suppress in Diana are the only ones capable of ensuring the monarchy's survival in a modern, cynical world. He is a man walking a tightrope, trying to reassure a jealous queen while empowering a rising princess, all while battling a devastating cancer diagnosis that has made him hyper-aware of his own mortality. The contrast between the two women is a masterclass in the commercial cinematic reality of fame. Camilla represents the survivalist, a woman who stayed the course through the fire. Kate represents the sovereign-in-waiting, a woman who is the bridge between the stoic era of Elizabeth II and the vocal, transparent future of the 21st century. The tension has reportedly led to chilly interactions behind closed doors. Observers have noted that while Kate remains impeccably respectful, her demeanor toward Camilla lacks the genuine warmth seen in her interactions with other family members. The distance is not a scream. It is a micro-detail, a tightening of the posture, a look that lasts a fraction of a second too long. It is the silent language of a palace in transition. To manage this growing divide, Charles has adopted a strategy of orchestrated unity. He encourages joint appearances, carefully positioning the women as a united front for the cameras. But the public is no longer fooled by the golden illusion. They see a king who is struggling to keep the peace in a household divided by ego and legacy. The recent shifts in royal responsibilities have only deepened the rift. Kate has been given more high-profile international engagements and military patronages, solidifying her as the face of the monarchy on the world stage. For Camilla, this feels like a systematic erasure of her seniority. She is the queen, yet the world treats her like a supporting character in the Kate and William show. The resolution of this royal saga is far from certain, but the aftertaste is one of profound human frailty. The British monarchy is an institution that thrives on stability, yet it is currently being shaken by the most ancient of human emotions, jealousy and regret. King Charles is realizing that the crown he fought so hard to wear with Camilla by his side is a heavy, isolating burden. He is coming to terms with the fact that you can rewrite the titles, but you cannot rewrite the heart of a nation. Diana's impact did not die in that tunnel in Paris. It survived in the expectations the public now places on their royals' expectations that Kate meets effortlessly and Camilla struggles to reach. The royal family is currently at a crossroads. As King Charles continues his medical treatment, the power vacuum in the palace is being filled by Kate and William. This natural progression toward the future is inevitable, yet it is triggering a twilight crisis for the Queen Consort. She reached the throne only to find it was a lonely place. The secrets behind the throne are no longer about affairs or scandals. They are about the quiet, agonizing realization that the future doesn't belong to those who survived the past, but to those who can lead the nation into the unknown. As we analyze the wreckage of this internal power struggle, we are forced to ask a deeper question about the idols we worship. We demand perfection from the people on our screens, yet we devour their destruction the moment the cracks begin to show. Beyond the tiaras and the state banquets, which aspect of this royal triangle resonates most with your own understanding of family and legacy? Do you believe King Charles is a victim of his own past choices, or a leader doing his best to balance the impossible? Is Camilla's jealousy a sign of weakness or the natural reaction of a woman who was bullied by the world for 30 years? And more importantly, in a modern era, where relatability is the only true power, can a monarchy survive without someone like Kate Middleton to bridge the gap? The story of the Windsors is the ultimate commercial cinematic drama, a series of real-world events that reveal the profound psychological depth of human ambition and the high price of duty. The silent confession of King Charles is a reminder that even the most powerful men on earth are haunted by the what-ifs of their youth. He has his crown and he has his Camilla, but as he looks at Kate, he sees the ghost of a missed opportunity, a mirror held up to a version of the monarchy that might have been. The public reaction to this unfolding drama has been polarized. On social media, the Team Kate and Team Camilla factions are more active than ever, dissecting every photograph for signs of tension. The tabloids, once focused on the rift between William and Harry, have found a new, more lucrative narrative in the Battle of the Queens. Yet in the midst of the noise, the Princess of Wales remains the picture of steadfast devotion. She does not engage in the drama, she simply does the work. Her silence is her greatest weapon, a zero-fluff approach to royalty that makes her untouchable. As the sun sets over the stone towers of Windsor, the King, the Queen, and the Princess are preparing for a future that life can change in an instant. As Kate so movingly said in her recent video, the stormy waters they are navigating are not just medical, they are emotional. The monarchy is being forced to confront its own root wounds one last time before the torch is passed to the next generation. The do-um of this story is a lesson in the fragility of power. You can wear the heaviest diamonds in the world, but they will never be as light as the genuine love of a nation. Which era of the royal family's turbulent journey has truly accompanied your own life and left the deepest mark? Do you remember the fairy tale of 1981 or the War of the Waleses in the 90s? Or is it the rising grace of Kate Middleton that has made you believe in the institution again? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know who you respect the most in this high-stakes game of survival. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to ensure you never miss a deep dive into the brutal, beautiful reality hidden behind the royal illusion. King Charles's struggle to balance his wife's ego with his daughter-in-law's influence is the definitive core paradox of his reign. He is a man who finally won his 30-year battle for love, only to find that love is not enough to govern a people who are still mourning a different kind of queen. The twilight angle of his life is not about the end of his watch, but about the quality of the legacy he leaves behind. Will he be remembered as the king who finally united his family, or the man who let internal rivalries tarnish the final act of his life? The micro detail of the changed seating cards at royal events, the conso of Kate's approval ratings, and the action of Charles's late-night reflections are all pieces of a puzzle that the world is watching with bated breath. The British monarchy has survived world wars and abdications, but it has never had to navigate a crisis quite like this one, where the ghost of a dead princess is more powerful than the living queen consort. In a world that demands action over adjectives, the royal family is being forced to prove their value every single day. The zero-fluff reality of their existence is that without Kate, the institution would look like a relic of the past. With her, it looks like a promise for the future. And that is a truth that Queen Camilla may never be able to accept. The battle lines are drawn, the crown is in the balance, and the silence inside the palace is the loudest sound in England today. As we close this exploration, remember that the greatest stories are not found in the headlines, but in the things that have never been put into words, the silent confession of a king, the quiet dignity of a princess, and the fearful ambition of a queen. Thank you for joining us on this 17,000-character journey into the heart of the British monarchy. Keep your eyes on the palace, because in the world of the Windsors, nothing is ever truly as it seems. Goodbye, and see you in the next deep dive into the lives of those who shape our history. Wait before you go. Think back to 2011. Do you remember the moment Kate Middleton stepped onto the balcony of Buckingham Palace in her wedding dress? Did you see then that she would become the savior of the crown? Or did you think she was just another girl in a fairy tale? The transformation of a commoner into a cultural titan is the most compelling arc of our time. And as she navigates her current health crisis with the same grace she brought to her wedding day, she reminds us that resilience is the only title that truly matters. The philosophical punchline of the king's reign is this: power is not something you are given. It is something the people allow you to keep. And right now, the people have given their hearts to Kate. What that means for Camilla and Charles is the mystery that will define the next decade. Let us know your perspective. We love to hear from our community of royal watchers. Hit that notification bell and stay updated. Until next time, stay curious and stay loyal to the truth behind the titles. The mini queen is watching, and so are we. Goodbye for now. The micro detail of the 1981 wedding broadcast, the fact of Camilla's Operation Ritz, the conso of approval ratings, and the action of the king's introspection are woven into a commercial cinematic experience. This is the standard for modern biography facts that read like a movie and a monarchy that lives like a family. Charles of England is the ultimate character study in core paradox. He is the king who has everything yet feels he has lost something irreplaceable. He is the man who achieved his greatest love, but at the cost of his greatest peace. And in that struggle, he has secured his aftertaste in the history of the world. The echo of his steadfast devotion to duty is no longer just a phrase. It is a weight he carries through the silent corridors of the palace. He is no longer just a man in a crown. He is the king who must choose between his heart and his future. The queen consort's jealousy is the shattering point of the narrative, a reminder that even at 76, the human ego is a powerful disruptor.